Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dr. Erika by Design. Today, I am joined on the show by the fabulous Sarah Price. Yay!
Oh, I'm fabulous. How lovely.
Yes, you are fabulous. I couldn't think of a good word that started with S off the top of my head to kind of go in front of it, but we'll go with fabulous.
Fabulous. Great.
After 25 years in the area of communications and campaigning and PR, Sarah founded her own company, which I love the name of it. It's called Actually, which she started in 2019. And based on her history, she just has a passion and wants to support purpose-led entrepreneurs, coaches, and consultants to grow their impact, to grow their business, and change the world.
Absolutely.
I just love that completely. Now
I'm glad.
yes, she's dedicated her career to just helping organizations and people and just brands just become better communicators and just better overall. So I am excited to communicate with her today and chat about her journey and maybe give you guys some tips around how to be more successful in your business. So, Sarah.
Let's see what we can do. Welcome. Thank you so much for having me. It's so wonderful to be here.
No problem. Now, Sarah, one thing I didn't say in the intro was, we talked about you had this company actually, but that's not kind of where your journey started. You actually created a multi-pound company in the past.
Yep,
That's
I did.
amazing.
Thank you very much. I spent the first 15 years of my career working for other people. And then back in 2010, at the height of the global recession in the immediate post-financial crash world, my very good friend Mark and I decided to start an independent communications consultancy, which is called Pagefield, which obviously it's still going to this day. And we took that business to a profitable 7-figure revenue inside the first 12 months. And it now employs about 50 people in London. And we work for brands like British Airways, Avon, some of the biggest brands in the world. Airbnb was a client. So yeah, it can be done. And now we're sliding into another global recession. And here I am with another new business because why not? Why not? Best time to start a business, in my opinion.
Exactly. Wow. 12 months to 7 figures. What was the biggest thing that you think led to that success?
I would say the partnership between Mark and I, because, people always say, don't work with friends. Like if you're an actor, don't work with children or animals. And if you're in business, don't work with friends. Don't mix friendship and business. I kind of disagree. I think it depends on the friendship. And Mark and I had known one another at that point for about 20 years. And we had a very deep level of trust between us and a deep understanding of one another's strengths and weaknesses. So we knew going in that we had complementary strengths. And because we had that friendship and that deep level of trust and ability to communicate with one another, we were able to deal with all the kind of niggling resentments that otherwise can come up in a business partnership relatively easily. And we could adapt ourselves to one another's styles. So Mark is very incredibly well networked. He is a great showman, a great sort of figurehead for a business out there, doing the breakfast, lunch, dinner, networking circuit. And I can do that, but I don't love it. He loves it. It's like his favorite thing to do. So he would go out there and do all of that and talk to people and generate, potential clients and potential leads. And then he would bring them back to me, brief me over, 2 double espressos, and in his case, 5 cigarettes usually, and just download to me everything that he had said. And I would turn that into a proposal, a pitch, and do all the kind of follow-up work. And that partnership, both of us playing to our strengths, worked incredibly well. Plus, we had both been in our industry for, at that point, 15 years and had built great networks of support, as well as the kind of potential client network. We were both astonished by the amount of goodwill that other people showed us. Heads of other agencies that you would traditionally think would be our competition would come and have lunch and share their insights and their wisdom with us. And we learned so much from the other people within our industry, which I think is a real testament to, if you take that collaborative approach yourself, if you believe in partnership and you believe in supporting others, you get that back. And we got that back in spades. So I think those are the things that really helped us to get that business off the ground. And then it didn't hurt that we won this incredible contract. In our first year, we became the first ever external agency to work directly for Buckingham Palace on a royal event.
Oh, wow.
And so we won a contract to do all of the press, broadcast and media work around the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. And that, obviously put us as this tiny startup agency on the map.
Right. And it's a lot in the statements that you just made. It was about your networking. It was about your already skill set that you had. But I also love that it was about knowing your own self and knowing the skills that you have, because a lot of entrepreneurs, when you hear entrepreneurs, you think that we are all solo by ourselves. And we probably start off that way, but eventually you're going to need a team around you, and knowing where your strengths are and knowing where your gaps are, I think, to your point, makes all the difference in working collaboratively with other people.
Absolutely. And not seeing those gaps as a weakness, and not seeing other people's success as a threat. When my team succeed, I think that's the best thing since sliced bread. When Mark does well, that's great. That's fantastic. It doesn't reflect badly on me. Right. It doesn't mean that I need to, do something else to compete with him. It's like, we're a team, we work together, we have complementary strengths, and we create great outcomes.
Now, you said that you worked for other people for years and then decided to venture out on your own. Was there any fear around?
So it sounds so smooth, doesn't it? It's like 15 years working for other people, and then I just woke up one day and decided to start a new business. It absolutely did not work like that at all. So obviously we had the big financial crash in 2008. And at that time, I was on the board of one of the big globally networked PR agencies, and they really struggled as an organization and as a business. And, they were losing business and really struggling with the recession. And they did a round of redundancies, and I took redundancy. And then I decided I was going to take a year off and just, do all of those things that you never normally have the time to do because you're always working, explore all those things. I did a photography course and a cookery course and all that sort of stuff, and had a wonderful time. But I didn't have a job and I still had a mortgage to pay and, all of that. So it was starting to get a little bit, I should probably start looking for some work. Anyway, over the course of that year, I took redundancy. My best friend died. And then I had this horrific accident, and I smashed my leg. It literally smashed my leg into 1,000 pieces. Like, I broke every bone in my ankle. I broke my lower leg in about 16 different places. And it was just at the point, it was 10 months in, it was just at the point where I was like, right, time to do the next thing, time to get some money coming in, time to start, whatever. And I had this huge accident. I ended up in bed for 3 months, had 4 surgeries on my leg. I still need to have another one, actually. And I remember the thing that kept me awake at night was not the pain or, will I walk? And it was, I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage. I am going to lose my home. I am going to, I can't pay my credit card. What is going to happen to me? And Mark came to see me. And he and I had been talking for years. We used to play this game called Fantasy Agency. If you were going to create your own communicate, who would you employ? What would you do? And he came to see me, and I was in hospital, and it's part of the legend of our business that this happened. But he came to see me. I was still in hospital. I was on incredibly strong painkillers. I was hooked up to a morphine drip at the time. And he says, that game we've been playing, that whole fantasy, I think we should do it. And I said, okay. And he said, I think you should write the business plan for it. I mean, you're not doing anything else. You're just lying here. So you may as well write the business plan. So it became part of the legend of our business that our entire business plan was written whilst I was seriously, kind of out of my mind, right, on painkillers with my leg in plaster and up in traction and the whole works. But by the time we started the business, a couple of months later, I literally had no money. I had nothing. I was paying my mortgage on a credit card, and really seriously up against it. So there was definitely a lot of fear. It could have gone horribly wrong, but it didn't. And it was a risk worth taking. At the time, my feeling was this, and this is why I think it's always a great idea to start a business in a recession. If it had gone horribly wrong, I could have gone and got another job. And my explanation would be, well, there was a global recession going on. Not my fault. It was the global recession. And if it goes really well, when the chips are down, when the economy is stagnant or declining, then when the economy bounces back, that you have a great business model. And as the economy recovered, our growth was just exponential, off the charts. So I think it's a great time to start a business, but that doesn't mean it's not scary.
Right. I needed to hear that because I started my business in the middle of the pandemic. Quit a great job in the middle of a pandemic. So I don't know if it was.
You can do it. I have total faith. I mean, you said I started actually in 2019. I was beta trialing in 2019. I wasn't really making any money. I was just trialing lots of different things.
Right.
I was due to launch this business in March 2020. Oops. Oh, right. Okay. Pandemic. Great. But I am much less scared this time around than I was last time.
Right. You have a little bit of experience under your belt there.
A little bit of experience.
So let's talk about this new business. You transitioned from your business with Mark to this. What made you want to start Actually?
Oh my goodness. I'll give you the short version of the story because there's a long version of this story. There's a short version. The short version is this. I worked for UNICEF a long time ago. It was one of my first jobs and I absolutely loved it, but I couldn't pay my rent. And it really irked me that I had to make this choice between a job that I loved that was making a difference and making enough money to actually live on. That really irritated me. And I remember when I left, because my bank manager gave me no choice. I remember when I left and I was in floods of tears and I promised myself that one day I would go back and do that kind of work again. And, fast forward 20 odd years. And I was really reminded of that promise. I met an old friend that I'd worked with at UNICEF who said, weren't you going to change the world? And I was fortunate to be in a position now where I didn't have to choose between making money and making a difference. I could take a risk that I wasn't going to make any money, that it wasn't going to work out. And I could do what I wanted to do all along, which was to really, my purpose is to help other people fulfill their purpose. My purpose is to make a difference by helping other people to make their difference. And I envisage a world in which every business is led by purpose and everybody knows right in their soul that you don't have to choose between making money and making a difference. You absolutely can do both. They are not mutually exclusive. And so, as I say, I met up with an old friend that I'd worked with at UNICEF who reminded me of that promise that I'd made myself. And I thought, you know what, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. So I still sit on the board of my old company and I still advise them and I still do bits of work with them. But I started actually to fulfill on that promise that I made myself 23 years ago.
Wow.
And here I am.
Wow. And I completely feel what you're saying of wanting to have a job that you love, but knowing that it's not going to pay you. There's so many things that I wanted to do, but I'm like, I have student loans, I have a mortgage that you can't. And it's a shame that we have that pull in our life. And you speak this topic of purpose. How do you think people can find their purpose? Because that's something people struggle with.
They do. It's funny. I was delivering a masterclass earlier today. So, and one of the things I talked about was purpose, and how I was helping people to think about how they get visible and how they get noticed and how they sort of step up as purpose-led entrepreneurs, and how purpose can trip you up. And it can trip you up in one of two ways, either because you're not clear about it. So because you're not clear about it, you find it difficult to articulate it. You find it difficult to attract people towards you, because your purpose is like the starting point of inspiration. It's the starting point for why people, your ideal clients, are going to be drawn towards you. Mm-hmm. So either you're just not clear about it, and that's problematic, or you wait to get clear about it. And I see so many purpose-led entrepreneurs who are holding themselves back from taking the next step because they're not clear about purpose. They're sort of waiting for this moment of Damascene conversion, you know, where the thunder will clap and the clouds will part and the finger of God will point down and this booming voice will say, Erika, this is your purpose. And actually the reality is, for most of us, that doesn't happen, right? And I was saying to the people on this class this morning, I was saying, you know what, if you've been sitting there for weeks, months, years, asking yourself the same question, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? And you're not getting an answer, change the question. Instead of asking yourself, what is my purpose? And waiting for the finger of God to, you know, point the way, ask yourself how you can make a difference. Ask yourself, how can I make an impact? Mm-hmm. Ask yourself, what brings me joy? And do that thing, because here's the thing. Action is what drives momentum. Action is what gets you the feedback. And you may get it wrong. You know, you may think, oh, okay, what brings me joy? What brings me joy? I know. I'm going to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. You go, okay, right, great. And you go off and you do that. And 6 months in, you're like, oh, actually, yeah, no, that's not for me. That's good. You've ruled something out. You've crossed it off the list. But if you don't take action, then you don't get the feedback, and you just sit there going around and around and around in circles, trying to work out the answer to an almost unanswerable question. Mm-hmm. So take the next step, and maybe, just maybe, your purpose will become clearer after you take the leap and not before. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe it's the action of taking the leap that's going to make things clearer for you. It's definitely going to give you feedback that you'll find helpful. Mm-hmm. So that for me is, you know, as I say, I hear it all the time. Well, I'm going to do it. As soon as I know what my purpose is, then I'm going to do the next. Just do the next thing and see what happens. Get the feedback.
Yeah, that is so good. I need you to get out of my head, because that's what I was thinking when I started. Because I think people don't want to get it wrong, right?
Yeah.
They just want to go out there and be right, because if you change it, then what are people going to say?
You know? But this is the thing. You're not going to get your purpose tattooed on your face. You know, you're not going to carve it in stone and have it up outside your house. It is almost inevitable that you're going to get it slightly wrong, that it will evolve. And my purpose has evolved and changed even since I started Actually. So it evolves over time anyway. The idea that you're just going to have this perfect purpose, there you go, written in stone and it'll never change, is a myth. Mm-hmm. And Liz Gilbert, who wrote Big Magic, who is just, I've
never heard of that book.
Icons. Oh,
Big Magic.
Right here. Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, the woman who wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So she wrote this book called Big Magic. And I went to see an event. She was talking about this book, and, you know, and she said this brilliant thing that I have got on my wall. She said, perfectionism is just fear in a fur coat and high heels.
Wait a minute.
Isn't that brilliant? That's brilliant. And that's the thing, waiting to get to the point where you have the perfectly phrased purpose is just perfectionism. And that's just fear.
Yeah.
And the only way past fear, the only way to get unstuck when you're stuck, is to take action, is to take the next step and see what happens.
Yes. I love that. I'm going to go get that book just because of that quote, because
it's not in the book.
It's not. Okay.
She said it at this event, but I tell you what, I'll send you an image with it on.
Okay, so perfect. Yes. I need that in my life, because I'm a recovering perfectionist myself. And yeah, I get it. It's all the
Amen. I am the same.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. So I want to touch base on some things that I saw on your website, because I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah. I like that you kind of look at the business or the person or the entrepreneur and how they can be the best in sort of three pillars, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was communication, mindset, and support.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
really want to dive into those just a little bit.
Sure. Sure.
The first one is like communication. And I love this because even especially now in the pandemic world, everybody and their brother and their dog is on social media. So it's a lot of
Oh, yeah.
noise, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you use communication or get your communication even heard in this space?
Yeah, it's such a great question, and I really hear you. The world is getting noisier and noisier and noisier for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I say to my people all the time. Your communications, like your business, your communications has to do two things. Your communications has to reflect you. So it has to be a true reflection of you, of your vision, of your values, of your voice. It has to be authentically, uniquely you. And it has to speak to them. It has to speak to the dreams, the hopes, the aspirations, the challenges, the questions, the issues that your audience, your ideal clients have. And the mistake that I see most businesses make when it comes to communications is they only do one side of that equation and they don't do the other. So if you look at all the big consumer brands, they do a ton of research on their ideal customers and on their ideal clients. You know, they know them inside out, back to front. They spend millions running research groups, running focus groups, getting to understand their ideal client, and all of their communications is designed to speak exactly to that person. But they spend very little time on the inner work, on understanding who they are, what they stand for. You know, I've lost count of the number of organizations that have values that they put on their website and they stick on the wall in their office, but you don't really get any sense of how those values play out in their business, in their operations, in their communications. And then I see lots of people who do the other thing, you know, who focus on, it's about me, all my communications are about me, I need to be true to me. And they don't do the ideal client work. You know, they don't get to understand their ideal clients and what really matters to them.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really important to them. They're doing a lot of guesswork. They're making a lot of assumptions. You know, at best, they're working with outdated knowledge. They did a bit of ideal client research when they first started their business 3 years ago. They haven't updated it since. And if you're not doing both of those things, then your communications will get lost. If every time you're putting something together, all you're focused on is what do I want to say, rather than what do they need to hear, then your communications will get lost. And if you are not really clear and really specific, more and more, I think now, about who it is you're speaking to, if you don't deeply understand and connect with those people, you know, when you're scrolling through the newsfeed on Facebook, or my personal current addiction, the For You page on TikTok, just saying, I'm so addicted to it. I can't tell you, I'm so addicted. It's a terrible thing.
I haven't gotten into TikTok yet. I'm staying away.
Oh, Erika, please take my life as a cautionary tale and avoid it at all costs. Okay. It is unbelievably addicted. It's like the crack cocaine of the social media world. Anyway, if you're scrolling through, you don't stop and read every single thing. Just like when you're reading a newspaper, you don't stop and read every article. You stop and look at the things that speak to you. And everybody's the same. So when you're putting out your communications, you've got to be putting something out that is going to directly speak to them, that's going to stop them in their scroll. And most people don't do that because they're focused on what they want to say all the time. So that's my big thing, is like, understand yourself and understand your clients, and then create communications that reflects both of those pieces. That's how you stand out. That's how you create really powerful content. And I think now more than ever, that values piece is so important. There's a great piece of research by the Harvard Business Review. They looked at why people choose to buy from one brand rather than another, and why they choose to build a long-term relationship with one company rather than another. And this is like a few years ago, 68% of customers, of consumers, say that a sense of shared values is the reason why they buy from you and not from me, or buy from that person and not from this person.
Mm.
And I think now in 2021, that figure would be even higher, because delivering great products and services is just the bare minimum now. That's like assumed. You have to do that. Now they're looking for a values match. They're looking for, do I share your values? Do I share your vision? Are we on the same page? So if your communications doesn't speak to that, again, you're not going to stop them in their scroll. Does that help?
It does. It really, really does. But it brings up another question in my head now.
Okay, I'll do my best.
So you were talking about kind of, knowing your value and kind of knowing your values when you're doing your communication, and also knowing what they need to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes I've heard that a lot of people, their ideal client is really themselves, right? Like they want something similar. What happens when your ideal client is the opposite of who you are?
It's a really interesting question. I'm trying to think of an example.
I'll give you mine. I'll let you know a little secret. This is kind of me. So a lot of my clients, I work with entrepreneurs that are scattered or, can't really seem to break down their bigger goals into actionable steps. So I'm a type A planner person. So that's not me.
Yeah. But that's okay, because you have what they need.
Okay.
So this is about, you know who you are, and you're a planner. You're organized, you're detail oriented, you know exactly what you're going to be doing. So you know you, and you know them. They're not like that, but they need it. I say to people all the time, people buy two things. They buy people and they buy transformation. That's what they buy. So they buy you as an individual if there's a values match between you, if they feel like, yeah, this is someone I can relate to, I could build a relationship with, who kind of gets me and I share her vision. And then they buy the transformation that you offer them. So if you can say to them, and it has to be the transformation that they need, which is why you have to understand them deeply and know exactly what they're looking for. But I was talking to somebody this morning who's a creativity coach, right? So she's all about helping people to become more creative. She was saying, I'm really struggling right now because people are saying, creativity is not a priority for them. Survival is a priority for them right now. And I said, yeah, because that's not the transformation you offer them. You're not offering them the transformation between uncreative and creative. You're offering them the transformation between misery and joy.
Ooh.
That's what you're offering them. Oh. So, you're not offering them the transformation between being disorganized and being organized. You're offering them, for example, the transformation between being overwhelmed and in control.
Gotcha.
And that's what they'll buy, if that's important to them. And if it's not important to them, then they're not your ideal client. Right, we move on.
I love that. Cool. Awesome. Okay. I'm back on track now. I just had to ask that question.
Okay. That's okay. Cool. Anytime.
No, you talked about TikTok. This is another random question that just popped into my head. There's so many tools, right? And communication, I'm assuming when you say communication, you're not just talking about written communication, you're talking about video and everything. So how do you know where to go? There's TikTok, there's Clubhouse, there's something new coming all the time.
All the time. And the answer is the same every single time. Where is your ideal client?
Okay.
That's it. So, I say that your ideal client is like your best friend in business. There really isn't a question that you can ask about your business that the answer for that question doesn't in some way involve getting to know your ideal client better. So I say to my clients, look, there is no point in you being on Facebook if all your ideal clients are playing on TikTok. There's no point being on TikTok if all your ideal clients are on Clubhouse. So go where your ideal clients are, and don't just go where they are, go where they are when they're in that headspace of wanting to interact with your kind of content. So my ideal clients are all over Facebook, but actually they're on Facebook because they're chilling out and they're chatting to their friends. Where they want to do business is LinkedIn. My ideal clients are all over TikTok, but they are definitely not in the headspace to be thinking about business when they're scrolling through recipes and comedy and bearded, tattooed men telling them they're gorgeous, then they're not thinking business at that point. So choose the platform that your people are on and interact with them in the way that they want. So
Gotcha.
my people like video and they like written stuff. They like blogs and articles. So that's what I give them. I give them video and I give them blogs and articles and slightly longer form written stuff because that's what they want.
Gotcha. So in that example, let's say you said they want to do business on LinkedIn, but they're on Facebook for sort of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Do you then do your business on Facebook, but you as just a fun person, you still engage with them on Facebook on a different level? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have a business profile on Facebook, business page on Facebook. In fact, I run most of my groups on Facebook because their group function is better than LinkedIn. Yeah. LinkedIn's group function is terrible. So I spend a lot of time on Facebook with my community because that's where I've built community. I bring them over and I say, come and join my group. It's over here.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm all over. I love Facebook. I'm that generation that, you know, we love Facebook. We're not TikTokers really. That's more, you know, that's more for the young people.
I'm not social media at all. So it's all a struggle for me. Oh, which brings up the next point of mindset. A lot of people, when they think about their business, they're always thinking about the actions, right? What to do, what to post on Facebook, what video to put on TikTok. But I'm finding that even in the space of working with entrepreneurs that are trying to get, you know, better organized, the mindset piece tends to not be there.
Yeah.
Completely. How do you get people to understand the importance of that in this space?
Oh, how do you get them to understand it? That's a really great question. And again, I was talking about this on this masterclass that I did this morning because I was saying, okay, look at the communications, and we talked about some of the basic things you have to have sorted out. You've got to understand your purpose, you've got to understand all that sort of stuff, right? So we did a bit on that. And then I said, okay, so you could do all of that. And everything I've just told you is absolutely right. You must do all of that, and you can do all of that. And you're still not going to get visible, and you're still not going to get noticed, and you're still not going to get the right clients. Anyone know why? And they're all looking at me going, no, well, hold on a minute. You just told me I had to sort out my communications and then I'd be okay.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you're not going to do it if your mind isn't in the right place. And there was this like moment where I could see all their faces on the screen going, oh yeah, that's true. And so we talked about mindset, and we talked about some of the biggest blocks that stop people. And because I'm all about, you know, you've got to get visible to grow your business. You know, if you're the best kept secret in the world, that's not going to help you grow your business. You've got to get visible. So I was talking about getting visible this morning, and people think that the biggest mindset block for getting visible is fear. Right? We're afraid.
Yeah.
We're afraid to stick our head above the parapet. We're afraid that people will take pot shots at us, that people will be nasty to us, that people will be negative and criticize us. And I get it. And I think that's probably part of it. But I actually think that the biggest mindset block of all is value. It's that you don't see, recognize, and own your own value and the value of your work. Because when you do, what other people say about you is irrelevant. If you own your value and you know how valuable your work is, who cares if Joe Blogs or Karen thinks that your work is right? Because you know that what you do is good. And so, fear, I get it. If you truly own your value, that fear becomes irrelevant. And honestly, it was like watching all these light bulbs go off this morning doing this one. Oh yeah, that's it. That's the thing. Yeah. So I did this whole visualization with them about getting in touch with the value of what they do and the transformation they can offer their clients. And, you know, it was like they all, after the visualization, I could see they were all sitting taller in their seats. They were like, come on then, I want to go out there and get visible now because I know that what I do is great. Like, that's what you need.
Wow. Yeah, that just hit me hard. And it kind of just goes back. What'd you say?
I was sorry. I didn't mean to hit you hard.
No, it's good. It's good. That's why I love these shows. It's the audience learns, I learn as a new entrepreneur. And, as a new entrepreneur, sometimes that value is kind of what you struggle with, because you are still trying to like craft and mold your purpose and your business. And it can be a little bit scary that you aren't bringing the value because you don't really know what the value is, or what the thing is that you're trying to do. So
absolutely.
yeah.
And getting in touch with that and really owning it and seeing your own brilliance and what you can truly offer people and the transformation that you can offer them is honestly central to getting over so many minds. Imposter syndrome goes away when you own your value. Comparisonitis, that kind of, oh, she's better than me, he's better than me, that goes away when you own your value. And all of those things just become less important, less relevant, less likely to trip you up. Boundaries. I see so many, especially new entrepreneurs, who are overwhelmed, burning out, falling apart at the seams, working 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, like crazy people, also not making any money because they keep giving everything away for nothing and, offering up discounts before anyone's even asked for them and all of that. Why? Because they have no boundaries, because they don't want to say no to anybody, because they believe they don't own their value. So they think, I've got to over deliver all the time in order for anyone to be getting value from what I'm doing. No, you don't. You just need to deliver the value of what you do. And I have yet to meet anyone in my community who is not delivering value. The challenge is not that they aren't delivering, they're all delivering amazing value to their clients. They're just not attaching value to what they deliver. They're not owning that value. And that's why they're struggling to make money.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That was so
Own
good.
your value, Erika. Own your value.
So good. Like I was expecting you to say like yoga or meditation.
No.
That was, oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, meditation's awesome, right? I love meditation. But own your value.
Okay. Now the last pillar, and I'm calling them pillars. I don't know if you call them pillars or not.
Whatever you want.
Okay. Was support. And I'm so ecstatic, like in this entrepreneurial space, everybody's so supportive and everybody's just, it's like a community. Yeah. So I guess from your perspective, are there different types of support you should be looking for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I say there are 3 types of support you need. So the first is counsel. And I draw a really clear distinction between informed advice and well-meaning opinion. Right? Yeah. So the kind of counsel you want is someone who's walked this path before you, has made all the mistakes, failed, succeeded, knows where all the bear traps are and all the pitfalls are, and can advise you. They're giving you advice based on expertise, experience, lived experience. That's the kind of counsel you want. Not, oh, I'm just going to sit and chat to my dad. And your dad says, I'm not sure that entrepreneurial business is such a good idea. Don't you think it would be better to have a regular paycheck? It's like, okay, Dad, unless you've started and succeeded in an entrepreneurial business, your opinion, whilst well-meaning, is useless to me.
Right.
I love you, but you don't know what you're talking about. And yet we spend so much time listening to other people's opinions. It's like, everybody has an opinion. Everybody, about everything. Opinions are cheap. Informed advice is expensive. It comes off the back of years and years and years of experience. You have to earn it through experience. So counsel is the first, and most people don't have them. I think in my community, I did some research on this. Only 15% of new entrepreneurs have an experienced mentor whose advice they actually listen to. Because that's the other thing. There's no point in having a mentor and then ignoring everything they tell you. Seen that happen a lot. So that's the first, counsel. Then I think you need collaborators.
Okay.
Right? I don't believe in competition. I think competition is the race to the bottom. It just creates lowest common denominator thinking. And it's bad for consumers and it's bad for companies. It's just not the way that the market should work, in my opinion. But I believe in collaboration. And I believe in a paradigm in which we all own our value and our zone of genius, and where we don't, you see people like holding on to their clients for dear life.
Mm-hmm.
This is my person. It's like, dude, if somebody over there is better placed to serve that person, then give that person to them, right? Give that client to them. And if we all operated in that way, we would all be so much happier working with people we love in our zone of genius and watching other people do the same. So I have like a group, I call them the Actually Partners.
Mm-hmm.
They're collaborators. They do similar things to me. They do completely different things to me. I refer work to them all the time. They operate in their zone of genius. They are best in class at what they do. I have no qualms about referring my clients over to them when they need them.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I meet a potential client, I think, you know what, I could help you, but we're not a values match. Like, this is not going to work. I have loads of other people who do similar things to me I can refer them to. And I'm like, you need to go and work with Kate. She is awesome. She's the right person for you. And we all need that collaboration. And then the third type is community, because I think there is an epidemic of what I call entrepreneurial loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
Either you're a solo entrepreneur, so you're sat at home trying to do it all by yourself, or even if you've got a small team, they're all looking to you to be the voice of wisdom and reason. And you're sitting there going, someone help me, right? There is no challenge that isn't made easier by sharing it. There is no problem that can't be solved in connection and collaboration with others and with community. There is no idea that isn't vastly improved by a community of people coming together and brainstorming it and bouncing your idea off other people. So you need that community of peers, those people that around you, like your tribe. And it's such an overused word now, but it's important. So those are the three, I think, of support that you need: counsel, collaborators, community. And there are too many entrepreneurs out there trying to do it all by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not only a sign that you're not valuing yourself, because if you value yourself, you get the help and support you need. It's also the surefire path to burnout. Surefire, every time.
Yeah. This has been
Don't try and do it all by yourself.
So good. Yes. Yes, Sara.
Yes. We're going to do it together.
Yes, I love
That's
this.
the plan.
This has been awesome. Yes, counsel, collaboration, and communication. If you did not write it down. Counsel, collaboration, communication. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. Counsel, communication.
No, counsel, collaboration,
community. Oh.
Yay!
Yes. Oh my gosh. Sara, I cannot believe we are coming up on the end of our time.
No.
I know, right? Right?
No.
Yeah.
Stay in chat forever.
Goes by so quickly, Sara.
Doesn't it?
Yes. But I can't let you go without the Fab Four.
Oh my Lord.
Are you game, Sara?
I'll do my very best.
Okay.
I'll do my very best. Oh my goodness.
First thing that comes
I'm slightly nervous now. I'm slightly nervous.
No. All right.
Okay.
What's the strangest food you've ever eaten?
Sheep's eyeballs.
Okay.
There's a whole story.
That you get the award for all the shows that I've done. That is the one thing that. Yeah. Okay.
Do you want the story, or are you happy with that answer?
We'll get the story after the show.
Okay, tell you after the show.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Teleportation.
Ooh, I like that.
Especially during lockdown. Then I could come and see all my friends on your side of the pond.
Yes.
In an instant without having to fly.
There you go. I love it. All right. If you had to pick a song to represent your life, what would it be?
Ooh. I would have to choose. Oh, do you know what? This is it. My sister and I played this game years ago, and we talked about what we'd want our funeral song to be.
Oh, wow.
Hers was Love Cats by The Cure, and mine was Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds.
Okay.
Don't you forget about me.
That's going on the list. All right.
Perfect.
The last one is just a statement. Just finish it. I am.
I am a rebellious optimist.
I like that. Sara is a rebellious optimist and just amazing guest. Sara, you have been awesome. Just awesome. If people want to connect with you, Sara, how can they do that?
Go to my website.
Okay.
It's www.actually.world. And you can find all sorts of information about me and who I am and what I do and how I can help you. Or you could just email me at talk@actually.world, because as you could probably tell from this interview, I do like to talk. So talk@actually.world, and I answer all my emails. So those are the best ways to get hold of me.
Nice. Now, Sara, I was just thinking, don't you do something on Facebook? Don't you do videos or something on Facebook? I thought.
I do all sorts of things on Facebook. I have great time on Facebook. So I have a Facebook group. You have to join the group, which is the Actually Making a Difference Facebook group. And every Monday morning at 10:30 UK time, I go live. I do something called Start the Week Right. And who knows, I show up and decide almost on the spot what I'm going to talk about. But the aim of it is to help people to just get the week off to a great start with something a bit different, a bit kind of, out there, something to just prompt some creative thinking. And then I also do a series called Meet the Expert, where I bring other experts into my Facebook group to chat about what they do. And I do all sorts of stuff. So come and join my Facebook group if you want to connect on an almost daily basis.
Nice. I love it. Sara, thank you again for being here. It's been awesome.
It's been wonderful. This has been so much fun. I should do this more often.
Yes. And guys, thank you out there for watching. As always, I appreciate you. And if you haven't subscribed or shared, remember to do that. And we will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thanks so much for having me.
No problem.